Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back. Today is going to be a video where I'm going to be criticizing a series. I'm going to be criticizing a series that I love. I truly do love Vinland Saga. It is one of my favorite manga ever, but there is a problem I have with this series. Like many other things I've read and experienced, I do have a problem with Vinland Saga. It's quite a big problem, to be honest, but I think it's something that I have to point out. Because for the longest time, I've been waiting for Vinland Saga to fix this issue because it's quite a fixable problem if you really think about it, especially in the context of Vinland Saga, a story with such great writing and such great characters. But it still has not been fixed. And there's been news, there have been leaks, I don't know what you really want to call it, but I've heard that Vinland Saga is close to coming to an end. And the creator of Vinland Saga, Makoto Yukimura, mentioned in an interview with Hajime Isayama, the creator of Attack on Titan, that Vinland Saga was not far from being over. That scares me, because to me, Vinland Saga is quite far from being over. Let me explain. So the first three arcs of Vinland Saga, being the prologue arc, the farmland arc, and the Eastern Expedition arc, were all amazing. To me, they make Vinland Saga what Vinland Saga is today. The fourth arc, the Vinland arc, which I'm pretty sure has already been confirmed to be the final arc, is also one that I do enjoy, for different reasons. Now, I do expect the Vinland arc to rise and become something even greater than the other three, but I don't want to give these kind of expectations, especially after seeing this comment. What I did expect, at least for the Vinland arc, was that there was going to be some kind of rising action, some kind of big climax, and some kind of falling action, because that's like the basis for any arc in any story. I understand that the Vinland arc is kind of like the farmland arc part 2, but it's still nowhere near the farmland arc, because the farmland arc did things that the Vinland arc is not currently doing very well. The main focus is Thorfinn, but Thorfinn's character is not going in the direction that I really want it to, and I'm kind of going to explain that a bit more. Let's just say I kind of hope Yukimura was trolling when he said that Vinland Saga is almost over. Not only because I love the series, but I want it to end in a really good way. So a big portion of this video is going to be on Thorfinn and why I feel like his character is slightly incomplete, especially coming into the Vinland arc. Everything from the other three arcs were great. I think his progress from becoming this vicious and malevolent character who only sought revenge into becoming a much more kinder person and developing his real goal in life is great. And I think that's kind of what makes Thorfinn one of the most loved and well-respected protagonists in all of manga. But I do have a problem with the way and the direction his character is going right now. I feel like his development is slightly unrealistic. So again, this may trigger some people, but I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm prepared for whatever comments and whatever kind of absolute slander I'm in for. But if you compare Thorfinn to his sort of counterpart characters, Guts and Musashi, because he is quite often compared to these two, you can kind of tell a difference. Guts and Musashi are much deeper characters than Thorfinn, but on the surface they look very similar. Now here's what I mean. Thorfinn does not have the struggle between his past self nearly as much as Musashi and Guts do. Guts, as we know, is still constantly struggling between two different goals and ideas that he has. Musashi constantly debating whether he should go back to the sword and find his real answer with the sword or pursue something else and live a life in peace. Thorfinn's already made up his decision, and his decision was made up extremely quickly and just based off a single arc. In the farming arc, Thorfinn made up his mind and that was that. There was no real struggle between him debating on what he was going to do with his life, and I feel like that is slightly unrealistic because especially in the world that Thorfinn lives in, there needs to be some kind of debate as to why he's doing this and what kind of other paths, what kind of other options he has. Because it's true that Vinland is a land of peace, but can peace really be achieved through only peaceful needs? And this ties into Canute, who is another character that I need to see more from, and I'm going to touch more on Canute later in the video, because he's very important, and I think we need to see a lot more from him. Again, with Musashi, he's still debating where to go with his life. Thorfinn has a goal in mind. That is okay. It is good to have a goal in mind, but especially considering that most of his life Thorfinn was just a savage of a person, it's kind of unrealistic how through the course of I think it's 2 or 3 years, he immediately changes into becoming someone more peaceful and growing a disgust for fighting. Now, yes, you can make arguments on that with me. That is not my strongest point in this video. My strongest point is that if Thorfinn does not experience fighting again in Vinland Saga, I do think the conclusion to his character is not going to be perfect. And that is especially because with his settlement in Vinland and the controversy with the Lanu and what they're going to do, are they going to wage war, as well as the controversy with Canute, and Canute's idea of finding peace is through evil means, similar to Lelouch from Code Geass, right? But he's a complete parallel to Thorfinn, and Thorfinn is completely against fighting. Now in the Vinland arc, there is not really a set antagonist to oppose Thorfinn. You're telling me the main antagonist of the arc is Ivar. Freaking Ivar. So yes, that's another one of the problems. There is no real set antagonist. There is no tension in this arc. There is no problem to be solved, really. Well, I guess there sort of is a problem to be solved, but Thorfinn has already made up his mind, and it does not look like it's going to change anytime soon. And that again is my problem. I do not think Thorfinn should simply be clear from fighting and have his mind completely clear from all the war and all the experiences he's had in the past. This is one of the reasons why I feel like the Eastern Expedition arc is possibly Vinland Saga's best arc, because we see Thorfinn's past experiences affecting him in the present time. He sees dreams of Askeladd, he sees dreams of the people he's killed in the past, pulling him down from the cliff. We see this many times. He also has this incredible moment with Floki where he nearly kills him with a sword. We need more of these moments because, again, Thorfinn is not clear from fighting. He still has a lot of battles left to fight. Again, these are not big problems, assuming that Vinland Saga is still going to go on and is still going to develop Thorfinn's character further and further. But the problem now is even greater amplified because Yukimura said that Vinland Saga is close to finishing, which probably means we're not going to get another rising action and a climax to the Vinland arc. So yes, I do feel like Thorfinn's character is extremely shallow at this point. I do think that he is a phenomenal character. I still regard him as one of the best protagonists because of his development and because of the experiences he's gone through. But when compared to his counterparts Guts and Musashi, I feel like he absolutely stands no chance because Guts and Musashi have experienced much more, are much deeper characters, and we get to see their struggle much more than we get to see Thorfinn's, because Thorfinn at this moment seems to be completely fine where he is and is seemingly made up his mind completely, unlike Guts and Musashi. And again, this is not an easy thing to make your mind up about because it is kind of deciding your direction in life. Are you going to go down the path that pretty much everyone else goes through in a warring time, or are you going to change everything and become a man who dedicates his life to finding peace? It's fine if you dedicate your life to peace. It's fine if you choose the latter option. It's just you cannot simply live in peace, especially being the main character of such an important story. You need to have struggle and you need to have obstacles in your way. Thorfinn has not had an obstacle this entire Vinland arc, but if this information is false, I have my hopes up again. So let's talk about Canute, who's the second main character in the story and who sort of, in my opinion, should serve as like the final antagonist of the story. That's what it really seemed like they were doing with this character up until this point. But up until now in the Vinland arc, I feel like we've only seen him, I think, once, maybe twice, I don't know. But we have not seen him nearly enough, and I think that's a big problem, because Canute has the potential to become an incredible antagonist and to surpass Askeladd as a character. I am being serious when I say that. He has that great of a potential. If you look at the parallels already being subtly set up between Canute and Thorfinn, it's easy to tell that Yukimura had planned from the beginning of the story to make these two big parallels and to make them the protagonist and antagonist of the story. They both have a similar goal, which is achieving peace, but they have two different ways of achieving it. Canute chooses to achieve peace through evil means and through the means of war and fighting, whereas Thorfinn tries to achieve peace through peace. Now think of that contrast between the two characters and tell me that is not an incredible idea for a protagonist-antagonist dynamic. This has not been set up at all in the Vinland arc. And you're telling me we're about to finish the story? Okay, so what do I want to see with Vinland Saga? I'm making all these complaints and I'm saying that this needs to happen, that needs to happen. What's my final idea of what Vinland Saga should really conclude on? I think there needs to be a final war. In my opinion, this might just be because this is my personal opinion, or it may be because of other stories I've read where this theme is extremely common. For example, Code Geass, Attack on Titan. But the theme that in order to achieve peace, you need to have war. You cannot simply achieve peace in a warring world, especially because now that Thorfinn is settled, there is some conflict between him and the Lunu, especially with some of the people in the Lunu tribe. They are not comfortable with Thorfinn and the gang being here, which sort of stirs up a conflict. I'd like to see that. A conflict between the Lunu and Thorfinn's people, or a conflict between Canute's people, the Lunu, and Thorfinn's alliance type thing. These two ideas would be incredible. I feel like a final war between Canute and Thorfinn, deciding who really gets to achieve peace on Vinland and whose ideology is truly correct. I think that's a great idea for how to finish up Vinland Saga. This doesn't even mean Thorfinn needs to fight, because being a leader, he himself does not need to fight, but he's going to need other people to fight for him. And I feel like other people are down to fight for him if they truly do believe in his cause for peace. Vinland Saga is a seinen manga. It's based in a cruel world, in the Viking era. I don't see it ending in an entirely peaceful way. That's all I think, but who knows? We'll see what happens. So this video is just my opinion. Again, I still love Vinland Saga. It's in my top 10 manga of all time. That's a tough place to be in. So I do hope that you do not spam the dislike button on this video, even though you really can because YouTube removed. But let me know your thoughts on this topic. Let me know what you think of everything that I mentioned in this video, and I will see you next time. Later.